Hello everybody, and welcome to the wonderful world of Valheim. This is another new series I'm doing. I'm starting back on the same seed that I used for the mini building series, and what I'm planning on doing this time is I'm going to make a village, build a village from the ground up in this beautiful environment. It's a magnificent seat, this particular part, and as you saw, I started right from the standing stones where you land. So we're right next to where we land. So this is going to be the center of the town, right center of the village, built around this beautiful tree. So we're going to start with the tree, or at the tree, and I'll try and talk through a little bit of what I'm doing as I'm doing it. So at the moment I'm just preparing the ground. So I did cover this in my introductory series, but to reiterate, you're not looking at the textures of the ground. You're looking at the rings and where the rings disappear into the ground. It shows that the ground needs lowering, and where that yellow bit in the middle of the circles starts to poke up towards the sky, that indicates that you need to raise the ground up. And to a certain extent you can do it just with the hoe, but not always. So let me just take this ground out, and I'll show you when we get to a part that's not going to flatten easily. So here's a bit that's not going to flatten really easily, but not enough that I would need to do something about it. And there is a spot that won't raise. Okay. So I hit it 3 times, 1, 2, 3, and the yellow line is still poking up from the center. So then I swap to raised ground, leaving my cursor exactly where it is, and I don't have any stones. Oh no, workbench. Hang on a minute. So yeah, I'm working without needing workbenches, but I'd forgotten to set it, because you need to set it when you come back on. So 1 hit in each of those places where it needed to be raised up a little bit, just 1, and it'll raise it up enough. And you can see it says invalid placement. That's probably a little bit too far out in the distance. You can push it out a little bit further, as long as part of the circle is still showing on the ground. But I'm pretty much at the limit. Alright. So then now I'm going to work out from here until everything is level from where I am before I move. It doesn't matter if you've got a little, tiny little piece that's not perfectly level. Unless you're building flat on the ground. If you're putting your floorboards flat on the ground without raising them at all, then it does matter, because those little bits will poke through the floor. As I say, this is very stamina intense, so make sure you've got good stamina food. So here's an example of an area which will not no matter how many times I hit it, it will not flatten out, so it won't go down. So now, can't do that. I go pull out my pickaxe and hit it once. Go back to where I was standing with my back to the tree and level it again. It's very time consuming, flattening ground. I mean, it may not be the perfect way to level ground, it's just the way I've found that works best for me. Alright, so I'm not going to make you sit through watching me flatten the ground. I'll bring you back in when I've finished this flattening out the areas that I want for the central build. And here we are back again. So I've done a bit of work since we last saw each other. I've done this path, which is a bit lumpy and bumpy and needs a bit of work on it. Up to here. So this is the seating area that we started before. This is going to be the cooking area here. This is going to be the foundry and forge work area. This is going to be the craft area. Then up here, struggling to get up the hill, lack of stamina. Up here we're going to be building over here the portal hub, and then over this side a little bit more the I'm thinking about doing a sundial. That's a maybe thing. I'm not touching the area down there, aside from carrying that path down to the water so I can build the dock. But there's all of this area here. Let me show you if I can ever get there. Slow going. There's this area up here for housing. All the way down to the water there, which is basically the other side of those standing stones of the landing spot. And then on the other side there's another whole meadow area, which is also where Aictio's summoning spot is. But that's why I chose this particular seed, because there's a huge area of meadows. So if we come through here, if we can ever get there, stamina's a nightmare. We have all of this area as well, all the way up there. So plenty of area to build. So what I'll do is put around some fortifications. I'm still considering whether to do that or not. I mean, at the moment it's not an issue because there's none of the bosses have been defeated, but as we start to defeat bosses, it can become an issue. So I'll put a fortification probably around the main central hub and the portal hub because they go for that. But leave the paths unfortified. And then anyone who wants to build a house can build it wherever they like and put their own fortifications around it and then just path through to one of the main paths, or if they're not confident in doing that, then ask me and I'll do it for them. So I did show you on one of my let's build or building things how to make a path going up a hill. So I'm just going to smooth it out a little bit. It's one of those jobs where it seems that no matter what you do, it's always a bit lumpy and bumpy. But I'll reiterate it. So I want to smooth it out to about that level. Let's step back a little bit. So you can see it disappears into the ground. So I just want to smooth it out to bring it down to this. Oh, and I didn't change it. Alright, so I made a bit of a mess of that. So what I want to do is follow it up like that. Nice and smooth. Bring it down to meet. As you can see, when I do this, it raises the ground to where I am. So you need to be aware of that you're likely to get a lump where you're standing if you're not moving forward. So move forward, raise it up a bit, move it forward, raise it up. So I made a mess of that. I need to actually raise it. So if you're having trouble for whatever reason, if you've made a mess of it like I did, or it just won't level out properly because there's too much of a dip or too much there's rock that needs removing underneath, revert to flat, and then once you've got it all flat properly, then you can usually slope it. It's harder when you're doing it wider than the width of the radius of this circle. Sometimes it's easier to go forward and move on up the hill, and sometimes it's easier to work backwards down the hill. And that's all got to do with the levels of the hill. really. So it's just a matter of trying one, and if that doesn't work, try the other. Just be aware that if you're moving, it moves it up. The spot you're standing on, it moves it up to a small degree to where you're standing if you're going downwards. So you just need to go back down and balance it all out. Alright, there we are. Fixed that. Now let's pull the hoe out again and balance this out a little bit more. I've been having so much trouble again with this particular bit of path. Always also be aware that sometimes the path is actually smooth and level. It's the optics, the graphics that are making it look lumpy. So walk down it or up it and feel what it feels like, whether it is actually lumpy or whether it's just a optical illusion. All right. And again here. Just be aware that you may not get paths perfect. So this was one of those spots that I had to stop and flatten it out completely because it just would not cooperate with what I was trying to do. So I got most of it to behave itself. And I may not ever get it perfect. So sometimes you just have to accept that things are going to be the way they are. As I said, it's mainly so that you can walk up and down here easily enough. And now we're going to decide where is our level. For the portal hub, and I think it's generally better to start with the higher level. It's up to you, of course. The problem with a higher level, of course, is you have greater drop-offs to deal with at the edges. The problem with choosing a lower level as your level is that you've got to carve out chunks of stone with your pickaxe. So as you can see here, I'm going to have to be doing quite a bit of filling to get it level. So I'll probably do a bit of a time shift on this and a bit of music, and you can see what I'm doing, but without having to sit through half an hour, 2 hours of this, depending on how cooperative the landscape is. It can be a slow process. think that'll do. So let's start. And then, of course, we're going to do the same on the other side, but I'm not going to do that right now because I want to show you what the plan is. I need to put another one behind this one. So just behind each of the long ones. That one's in the wrong spot. There. All right. To make sure that they're on the ground well enough for it to get up. All right. Then we'll put the portals up. And if you're wondering why I tagged it, it's just to stop them all setting off when I put them up. This one's hard because it's yeah. I could put the steps around the other way. It just doesn't have quite the same effect. I'll show you. So it's not quite sitting right. That's probably because the portal is there, which is why I put the portals in after the stairs. That's better. I mean, I could do it like this. Yeah, that would work. It's only if it was an even number, it would work better. An even number of steps. But, well, aside from taking out that tree, which I don't want to do, That's the only choice we have, I suppose, because if I'm going to be putting one here, so that might look all right. Anyway. Let's get the rest of the portals in on this side. So yeah, for those who haven't figured that one out already, and I know that some of the people who watch this are quite new to Valheim. If you tag your portals, then they don't scream every time you go past them. There we are. So that's how it's going to look. One of these is in the wrong spot. This one. That's better. All right, and then I'll put another 5 down this side, and possibly a couple at the back here. I haven't decided yet. I mean, you don't need that many portals in a place. I think 12 is enough, or maybe 13. Let's get this measured out. What I'm going to do is put that there. Now if I put 12 altogether, that's just 2 in the center, and I need a... Right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That one should be in the center. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we want one to be about there, I think, which means one, 2, and 1, because I don't need it for... I don't need the spacing because it's going to be... I suppose I could put one in the center here as well, but I don't I might put something decorative in the center instead. So I'm going to just put these across, just so I don't have to fiddle with getting the initial placing again. One, two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh. That one. That one. And that one. Now we can take these ones out. And what we're going to do is put one facing that way and one going the other way. Yeah, that looks nice. And then we do the other side. But I think, oh, haven't really eaten again. But I think I'm going to leave it there for now, and next time I'll pick up and I'll probably have all the other portals in by then, and you can see what it looks like, and then we'll do the next bit of the build. All right. Thank you for joining me. I hope you found it interesting and educational, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye for now.